nuclear-powered warship with over 5,000 people living inside. The noise hits you first, jet engines screaming at full throttle just feet away. Then the smell of jet fuel burns your nostrils. You haven't slept in 38 hours. Your rack is stacked 3 high in a room with 60 strangers. The floor vibrates constantly beneath your feet. 38 hours on a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, the most intense introduction to military life you'll ever experience. Every year, thousands of young Americans report to their first ship assignment after boot camp. For men, aircraft carriers, floating cities that represent American power across the globe, but nothing in training fully prepares you for those first 2 days aboard. The sensory overload, the sleep deprivation, the cramped spaces, and the realization that this 1,092-foot-long warship is now your home. This isn't Hollywood. This is the real experience of new sailors stepping into one of the most demanding environments in the entire U.S. military. From the moment they salute the flag and step aboard, their lives change completely. Let us know in the comments if you have a family member who served on a carrier. We'd love to hear their story. Section 1, the arrival. The journey starts long before you see the ship. After graduating boot camp and technical school, you receive orders to one of the most powerful weapon systems ever created. These ships cost $13 billion each, carry 75 aircraft, and house more people than most small towns. Most new sailors arrive at the pier early in the morning. The Navy requires reporting by 0730, but being on time in the military means arriving 15 minutes early. You stand at the base of the gangway, sea bag over your shoulder, orders in hand. The ship towers above you. The flight deck alone covers 4.5 acres. The formal check-in follows strict naval tradition. You walk up the gangway and stop 3/4 of the way up. You turn toward the stern and salute the American flag. Then you continue to the quarterdeck where the officer of the deck waits. You present your military ID and orders, then request permission to come aboard. This isn't ceremony, it's your official entry into the ship's crew. After permission is granted, you're assigned an escort who guides you to the personnel office. You hand over your service record, emergency data forms, and life insurance paperwork. You're given your berthing assignment, your division assignment, and a meal card. Then comes your first real shock. Finding your way around an aircraft carrier has over 2,700 spaces spread across multiple decks. The passageways twist and turn. The ladders are nearly vertical. New sailors get lost constantly during their first weeks. Section 2. The living quarters. Your escort leads you to your berthing compartment. This is where reality hits. On older carriers, enlisted berthing spaces hold up to 180 sailors. Newer ships have improved this to about 40 per compartment, but it's still incredibly tight. You're assigned a rack, a bed stacked 3 high. If you're on the top rack, you have maybe 2 feet between you and the ceiling. The racks measure roughly 6 feet long by 2.5 feet wide. You get one small locker for everything you own. Personal space simply doesn't exist. The berthing compartment operates 24 hours a day because sailors work different shifts. The Navy uses rotating watch schedules, meaning someone is always sleeping while others are awake. The compartments have red lighting, dim enough to let people sleep, but bright enough for those on different schedules to get dressed. The constant foot traffic never stops. Noise is relentless. The compartments sit near machinery spaces or directly under the mess decks, where thousands eat 3 times a day. You hear footsteps overhead constantly. Nearby pumps and ventilation systems run continuously. The ship's public address system makes announcements at all hours. Learning to sleep through aircraft launches above your head is a skill that takes weeks to master. The bathrooms, called heads, present their own adjustment. On newer carriers, each berthing has attached heads with showers and toilets. But on older ships, you walk down several passageways just to shower. You share these facilities with dozens of sailors. Privacy is non-existent. You learn to shower quickly because someone is always waiting. Section 3. The first night. After checking in and finding your berthing, You face your first night aboard. By this point, most new sailors have been awake for well over 30 hours. The combination of travel, time zone changes, processing, and adrenaline keeps you going. But exhaustion eventually catches up. That first attempt to sleep is memorable. You climb into your rack, a challenge if you're assigned a top bunk. The ventilation provides air conditioning, but with 40 to 60 people generating body heat, it stays uncomfortably warm. The constant noise makes sleep difficult. Sailors coming off watch stumble in, opening lockers and climbing into racks. The person above or below you shifts position, shaking the whole stack. Somewhere in the compartment, someone snores loudly. The public address system crackles with announcements about tomorrow's drills. But the most disorienting aspect is the motion. Even tied to the pier, the ship moves with the tide and wind. Once underway, the movement becomes more pronounced. New sailors often experience mild seasickness their first few days. Many new sailors don't sleep much at all their first 48 hours. It's not because the Navy prevents it. Despite rumors, there's no policy keeping sailors awake. It's because everything is so new and overwhelming that your mind won't shut down. The adrenaline, the nerves, and the unfamiliar environment all work against restful sleep. Before we continue, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. It costs you nothing but makes a huge difference to us. We bring you authentic military content like this every week. During your first night, you also experience the watch rotation system. The Navy operates continuously. There's no downtime when a carrier is operational. New sailors quickly learn there's no concept of weekends or holidays. You work when the mission requires it. Around 0530, lights come on and the berthing sailors on the morning watch begin moving. Within an hour, the compartment is alive with activity. People showering, getting dressed, making final preparations. You drag yourself out after maybe 3 hours of broken sleep and head to the showers. Section 4. The sensory overload. The first full day aboard is overwhelming. Your division assigns you a sponsor who shows you around and helps you learn the basics. This person becomes your lifeline during those first confusing weeks. Your first trip to the mess decks introduces you to feeding operations on a massive scale. The Navy prepares 4 meals a day for over 5,000 people. The mess decks can seat hundreds, but there's always a line. Meal times are staggered by division. The food isn't bad. Contrary to popular belief, carrier food is actually decent. There's variety, fresh fruit and vegetables, and enough options for different dietary needs. After breakfast, your real orientation begins. Your sponsor takes you on a tour. Your work center, the medical department, the ship's store, the post office. You receive briefings on safety regulations, emergency procedures, and the ship's mission. A U.S. Navy aircraft carrier projects American military power. Your role, no matter how small, contributes to that mission. If your ship is preparing for operations, you might get your first experience on the flight deck. This is where the full power of a carrier hits you. Your escort leads you to a prep room where you're issued a cranial helmet with ear protection, safety goggles, and a float coat. A safety briefer explains the rules. Follow hand signals exactly, never cross the red and white safety line, remove anything that could blow away, and stay alert constantly. Stepping onto the flight deck is unlike anything else. The noise is physical. You feel it in your chest even with double ear protection. Jet engines at full throttle create sound levels exceeding 140 decibels. The smell of jet fuel is everywhere. The deck vibrates from aircraft launching and landing. Nearly 1,000 sailors work on this 4.5-acre space, each wearing color-coded jerseys that indicate their job. You watch an FA-18 Super Hornet move into position on the catapult. The pilot runs through checks while the catapult crew hooks up the launch bar. The jet blast deflector rises behind the aircraft. The pilot advances throttles to full power. The catapult officer gives the signal. In less than 3 seconds, the aircraft accelerates from 0 to 165 miles per hour and shoots off the bow. The force leaves you stunned. Then you realize 3 more aircraft are already moving into position. This continues for hours during flight operations. Recovery operations are equally intense. Aircraft approach from behind at 145 miles per hour. They catch one of 4 arresting wires, bringing them from full speed to complete stop in about 2 seconds. The impact shakes the entire ship. If a pilot misses all 4 wires, they immediately take off again. A bolter. This happens regularly. Your first exposure makes clear why carrier duty is one of the most dangerous jobs in the military. The margin for error is non-existent. One mistake can result in serious injury or death. Every briefing, every procedure, every rule exists because someone was hurt when that rule didn't exist. Section 5. The work begins. By the end of your first full day, you report to your actual work center. This is where you'll spend most of your time for the next several years. Depending on your rating, this could be anywhere on the ship. Aviation ratings work on the flight deck. Maintaining aircraft engineering ratings work in machinery spaces, keeping the nuclear reactors and engines running. Operations ratings work in the Combat Information Center or on the bridge. Supply ratings handle food service and logistics. Your division immediately starts your qualification process. You cannot stand watch independently until you complete qualifications. This involves intensive training, written exams, practical demonstrations, and checkouts from senior personnel. For some ratings, this takes months. The work schedule on a carrier is demanding. When preparing for deployment or conducting operations, 12-hour shifts are common. Some ratings work even longer. Between watch standing, qualifying for the next watch station, divisional training, maintenance, cleaning stations, and drills, your day fills up quickly. The Navy's approach to sleep has evolved in recent years. Research showed sleep-deprived sailors make more mistakes, which can be catastrophic on a warship. Some ships now use circadian watch rotations, but the reality remains that carrier operations don't stop, and neither does the crew. Veterans share stories of working 48 to 72 hours straight during intense operations. Your division also introduces you to the ship's culture. Every carrier has its own personality shaped by the commanding officer, the crew, and the ship's history. Your division becomes your family. These are the people you work with, eat with, and rely on during emergencies. The chain of command becomes very real. You have a leading petty officer, a work center supervisor, a division chief, and a division officer. Above them are department heads, the executive officer, and the commanding officer. As a new sailor, you learn quickly to respect this chain and work within it. Section 6. The amenities and support. Despite challenging conditions, modern aircraft carriers offer amenities that make life more bearable. The Navy understands sailors perform better when their basic needs are met. Most carriers have multiple gyms. These range from small weight rooms to larger spaces with cardio equipment. Sailors use these during off time to maintain fitness. Some carriers organize competitions to keep morale high. When at sea, sailors sometimes run 5K races around the flight deck during periods when aircraft aren't operating. The ship's store operates like a convenience store, selling toiletries, snacks, uniforms, and necessities. Prices are generally lower than civilian stores. There's also a barbershop where sailors get haircuts to maintain grooming standards. Newer carriers have renovated recreation spaces that feel dramatically different from the industrial environment. The USS Abraham Lincoln recently completed a USO Center renovation with comfortable lounge chairs, an electric fireplace, reliable Wi-Fi, a gaming room, and a stadium seating movie theater. On some carriers, these spaces log over 8,000 visits per month. The library offers books, magazines, and a quiet space. Some ships have video recording rooms where sailors can create messages for their families. While communications at sea have improved, being able to send a video message home means everything to sailors who haven't seen their families in months. Food service deserves mention. The Navy takes feeding the crew seriously. The galley operates continuously, serving 4 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and mid-rats. Midnight rations for night shifts. The menus rotate to provide variety. Fresh fruits and vegetables are always available. Special meals are prepared for holidays. The quality of life improvements represent the Navy's recognition that asking sailors to spend months away from home requires making that environment as livable as possible. These aren't luxuries. They're necessities for maintaining the crew's mental health and operational readiness. Section 7. The Transformation. By the end of the first 48 hours, new sailors start processing what they've signed up for. The excitement of reporting to a carrier mixes with exhaustion, homesickness, and uncertainty. This is normal and expected. Your chain of command watches new sailors closely during these first weeks. They look for signs of serious adjustment problems. Division leaders have seen thousands of new sailors come aboard. They know what to expect and how to help. The Command Religious Ministries, the Medical Department, and the Fleet and Family Support Center all provide resources for sailors struggling with the transition. Some sailors thrive immediately. They adapt quickly, find their place in the division, and start building the skills that will define their naval career. Others struggle more. They miss home, question their decision to join, or feel overwhelmed. Both reactions are valid. The Navy provides mentorship and counseling because a strong crew is essential to the mission. What new sailors don't fully realize yet is how much they're about to grow. Life on a carrier pushes you in ways civilian life rarely does. You learn technical skills that translate to high-paying civilian jobs. You learn to work with people from every background imaginable. You learn you're capable of far more than you thought possible. You develop confidence from knowing you can handle extreme stress. The camaraderie that develops aboard ship is unlike anything in civilian life. When you're away from home for months, living and working in close quarters, depending on each other for safety and success, bonds form that last forever. Veterans often say their closest friendships came from their time on the carrier. The shared experience of deployments, difficult conditions, and accomplishing the mission together creates connections that civilian life rarely matches. Your first 48 hours are just the beginning. Ahead are weeks of qualifications, months of training exercises, and eventually deployment. You'll see parts of the world most Americans never visit. You'll participate in operations that make news around the globe. You'll be part of the team operating the most powerful weapons platform ever created, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier of the United States Navy. The Navy needs sailors who can function in the most demanding environments on Earth. Those first 2 days start the process of building that capability. Every veteran carrier sailor remembers their first days aboard. They remember being overwhelmed, exhausted, and wondering if they'd made the right choice. They also remember the moment when the ship stopped feeling alien and started feeling like home, when their division stopped being strangers and became family, when they realized they were part of something bigger than themselves. Conclusion. Over 100,000 sailors serve in the U.S. Navy's aviation forces across 11 aircraft carriers. Each one went through their own version of these first 48 hours. Each one faced the same challenges and came out stronger. The aircraft carrier force represents American naval power and American values. The sailors who serve aboard these magnificent ships make that power real. These men and women sacrifice time with their families, endure difficult living conditions, and work incredibly long hours, all in service to our nation. They operate the most advanced warships ever built, projecting American strength and defending freedom across the world's oceans. The professionalism, dedication, and skill of our carrier sailors is unmatched anywhere in the world. The first 48 hours on a carrier are just the start of a journey that transforms ordinary Americans into extraordinary sailors. It's a testament to the strength and character of the young men and women who volunteer to serve. They join not knowing exactly what they're getting into, but they rise to the challenge every single time. If this video gave you a new appreciation for what our sailors experience, show your support by liking and subscribing. We create content that honors the service and sacrifice of America's military, and your support helps us continue that mission. Our sailors deserve nothing less than our respect and recognition.